Hey guys, Kelly here, and welcome to A Slice of My World. So, I want to know, are you feeling a little overwhelmed with everything that is going on in the world today? Like, I've been kind of avoiding most of my social media because everybody is a little bit extra right now, and for me, it's just too much. And I'm wondering if you feel that way too. So I am the person that people are like, oh, she's the strong girl. And if it's overwhelming for me, I know it's got to be kind of overwhelming for others. So I kind of wanted to check in with you guys and see how you're feeling. So there are people who are still fearful of the pandemic. There are people who think that the pandemic is nonsense. There are people who realize it's an election year and they want to tell you who to vote for or who not to vote for. There are people that want to tell you that masks don't help, and there are people that want to tell you that masks do help. And then there are, of course, all the police brutality. People want to tell you how to protest or not to protest. They want to, disparage the rioters, or they want to build the rioters up. And there are still babies being locked up at the border, and hydrochloroquine is, finally alleviated of the stress of having to take care of those who thought they might have the pandemic, and on and on and on. So for me, so many of these topics are things that I will be passionate about. And the thing about it is, if you're watching your news feed, if you're watching the news, there's always a new thing for you to get all up in arms about. And it doesn't get noisy around here till I hit that record button. But there's so much that we can be upset about. And it really is almost like 15 minutes of rage over this, and 15 minutes of rage over that, and then another 15 minutes of rage over this. And if you're spending your day raging over who to vote for, whether or not somebody else is wearing a mask, whether or not they opened or closed or stayed too long, or whatever those things are, really it takes a lot. So for me, I have done what many of us have heard all through our lives: pick your battles. There are two things that are important to me at this moment in time, and they are very, very personal to me, and that is why I choose to only, I won't even say focus on those, but only really give a little bit of attention where I can to those causes. The one cause is hydrochloroquine, because for many of us who are battling lupus, and if you're new to me, I'm battling lupus. For many of us that are battling lupus, that is one of the pills or one of the drugs that we are given across the board. It doesn't matter what other medications they couple it with. Pretty much if you talk to someone who has lupus, no matter where they are, they're going to be taking hydrochloroquine. And it's very rare for someone not to be, and it's usually because they had an allergic reaction or something like that and they had to find an alternative. But for the most part, hydrochloroquine is something that we use that helps us, and it's been, studies have shown that it is helpful. So during the pandemic, it was put out there without any real proof that it was going to help those that had that thought, it was going to prevent COVID-19, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And because of that, it became a problem for some people to get their medications, and insurers were actually sending people letters and volunteering them for their sacrifice. And I just didn't think that was really fair. So I was, constantly talking about it, constantly sharing studies and that kind of thing, because I'm passionate about that. It's something that I was able to get my medications. I live outside the country, so for me, it wasn't a big deal. But for me to think that, oh, I've got mine and not care about the rest of the community is not cool. It's not just about me, it's about a collective whole. And I'm a part of that community, and I care whether or not my brothers and sisters that are battling this disease can get what they need to live as comfortably as they possibly can. The other thing that I've kind of chimed in on, if you will. And if you guys, I'll put up at the top a link to my video where I talked about the things that I don't miss about not, of living in the U.S. And one of them was being a brown person in the U.S. And so the Black Lives Matter movement to me is very personal because, a lot of times we look at things and we say, oh, well, that could happen to someone else. But when it comes down to the way that my race is looked at and in the U.S., this could very well be somebody that I know personally. And every time it happens, it doesn't hit me as if, oh, that poor family. It hits me as if, oh my God, that could be my family. And that is a very real possibility because blacks are constantly, and it doesn't matter where they live, it doesn't matter what they're doing, we're constantly harassed by the police. It is a real life or death fear just to get pulled over by a routine traffic stop. So my point is not to preach on those things per se, but it is to say that if you are feeling overwhelmed, pick your battles. Pick the things that really matter to you. For me, I say if I can't make a direct impact on it, then I am not going to bother with it. I'm not going to give my energy to that. And I'd like to share a story with you guys, and then I'm gonna go ahead and get the heck out of here. And I feel really good about this story that I'm about to share with you guys. So speaking of the Black Lives Matter, well, first of all, wait a minute, wait. I can't believe that I wasn't gonna start with this. I feel highly justified. Let me tell you all something. I am not the type of person that has to be right, okay? Not my makeup at all. However, I will have no shame whatsoever when it comes down to the I told you so's. I'm not even gonna lie. If I told you and you didn't believe it and it happens the way that I said it was gonna happen, I'm gonna show up and let you know I told you. So, for all of those that battled me on the thought that hydrochloroquine was not helping the pandemic because I was following the studies and not the news, I would like to thank the FDA for making me right. Okay, now that we got that piece out of the way, let me share this story with you guys about making a direct impact. So I talk about, the Black Lives Movement, that it matters to me. Now, many of us think that we've got to have a whole movement to impact something, that we don't have the platform, we don't have the money, we don't have the whatever, but one voice really does make a difference. So years and years ago, I worked in real estate. I talk about this, several different times on the channel. I worked in real estate and I met a lady and we worked in the same office together. And I thought her to be a reasonable lady, but she's older than me, not but she's older than me, but she's older than me. And she moved to a different state. I left the country, but we're friends on Facebook. She's an older white lady. I'm gonna say in her 60s, and I say older, but hell, I'm 50, so she ain't that much older, but she's, I believe, in her 60s. And she's a Southern white lady. So she posted on her Facebook page that the police will not bother you if you don't do anything illegal. Hang on, guys, let me get a sip before I finish this one. Okay, and I posted, unless you're black. And it became a situation, if you will, where she accused me of being an agitator and that she wasn't racist. But I never called her a racist. And so what I did was, a lot of times in situations like that, both sides are angry and somebody says something and they go at it, and I just don't work that way. I believe in trying to be reasonable, especially when the person I'm talking to I feel is being unreasonable, and apparently she felt attacked. So what I said to her was, please go back, read my comments, see that I did not call you a racist. I simply imparted a different point of view from a perspective that you can't quite get, I'm sure. And I thought we were having a conversation. I didn't realize I was agitating. I'll take my difference of opinion elsewhere. And interestingly enough, she tried to, well, you don't know me. And I'm like, I met you back in Tampa, thought you were a reasonable person, which is part of the reason I commented on your post, because I thought you were a reasonable person. Maybe I was wrong. And she had another lady, another black lady, comment on her thread and shared a story of her father, who was driving a Corvette, getting pulled over by the police. And when he asked the police officer why he stopped him, the police officer asked him, "Where did you get this Corvette?" So it was like, you can't afford this because you black. Why you driving it? And who else gets pulled over like that? And I could give you a million stories of friends of mine that are high income earners that traded luxury vehicles because it was a cop magnet. And so anyway, so I went on about my day. The next morning I get up and I've got an email from her in my inbox. And as soon as I see her name, I'm like, oh gosh, really? What now? So she sends me an actual apology. And she said that what she did was because the other girl that commented, she knew her on a deeper level. And she was really surprised by what she shared. Now, most people in these positions don't really know a lot of black people. And I recognize that. So what she did was she called a friend of hers who is married to a black guy and asked about these things that we had said, and she got a lesson. Then there was a woman that worked in the office with her, and she shared some things, and again, she got a lesson. And what she said to me was, "Kelly, I had no idea." She says, and I asked my friend why she never told me this, and she's like, "It's just something we don't talk about." Now, this woman had been married to this man for 30 years. She had a lot of stories. And what I find interesting is that we don't talk about it because why would we? Why would we talk to someone who we know isn't going to understand? But what she said to me was basically, God put you in front of me, and you believe whatever you want, but this is what she said. God put you in front of me to help me to change my perspective, to change my point of view. And the comment that I had out there yesterday, I have removed it, and now that I know better, I will do better. How can I help you? What can I do to educate myself further? Guys, me making that one comment made an impact. Now, I don't know how much of her life she's going to change, if she sees anything that doesn't look right, if she's going to speak up or not. But I do know this, she learned something. And in my mind, that means that my voice mattered. And so I want you, again, after I've told my long story, I want you to pick your poison. Choose your battles and know that your energy is important. And if you're angry all the time, if you're stressed out all the time, if you're fearful all the time, if you're sad all the time, because there's so much going on around you, find a space where you can get some joy. And then find those things that are most passionate to you, that you can make an impact on and make changes in that area and leave everything else in the garbage. All right, guys, so hopefully this helps someone. If you have not hit the subscribe button, I really wish that you would. That would bring me a little extra joy. And yeah, and I'll be sharing some, more of my insight as we go forward in these uncertain days. All right, guys, have a good one. I'll talk to you next go round. Thanks for watching. Ciao.